Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 11 of my Factorio Space Age guide. In the last episode, we hooked up the miners to our smelters. We ran some ore down the bus and converted it into plates. We did copper and we did iron, and now we have iron coming out through here. We also set up some gears to put on the bus, which should be interesting. It's gonna make things interesting not having this extra iron and not crafting the gears on site, and that's hopefully the goal. So I was looking at this, and these just really are not necessary. So what we're gonna do is we are actually, and this is kind of like the only time that this is gonna happen, but we are gonna set it up like this instead. That was not... Hold on. That is not going to work. Because we're removing a whole belt, this will be fine. Wait a minute. That's still not going to work. Oh, sorry. Wow. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Okay, we got there. All right, that is what we were looking for. Because we're removing one whole belt, like this can just end up like this, and then priority left. The ones that are coming up in the future will be slightly different, and we're gonna have a little bit of a rule of thumb on how to deal with these situations. And again, I only brought this belt down because we're removing a belt, and I still kind of want to have two. So these will help push out two full belts as we need. So what are we going to be doing next? In this episode, we are going to be creating green circuits. This is going to be one of those builds that is more or less just different for the sake of being different. I want to try to have this setup where I have materials incoming on one, and again, this will not always be the case, but I want to have materials coming in on one side, production in the middle, and the produced items coming out on the right-hand side. Also, if you wanted to extend this, like if you had, like say we upgraded to blue belts, you would just put another one of these on top, and you would still have to have this merge in, so it would, not like that. It would look something like this. And then for these, like again, you had blue belts, so there's more material coming in here. These would probably look more like this. And then you would do the same thing here, branch off, and then say have this. And then maybe a splitter at the end with only one coming out of the ending splitter into the center. I plan on upgrading to blue belts before we get off the planet, so I will come back and show that later. And it's really, honestly, not that big of a deal because we will be getting some better things to help us out with things like gears in shortly after leaving the planet. So anyways, green circuits. So I'm going to set up my measuring stick. We kind of determined that instead of lining things up on the assemblers, we were going to... What? Oh, sorry. Wow. We can assume that there was a non-existent a non-existent belt right here. So we're spacing this out by two assemblers. That'll just give us room to kind of, you know, mess around with like any kind of belt setups that we need or whatever. If we just need something random down here, we're just gonna have room for it. Maybe some concrete later. Anyways, so we're gonna be making green circuits. So what do we need for green circuits? Green circuits needs iron plates and let's iron ore in my inventory. It needs iron plates and copper cables. So we need 1.5 iron plates per second and 4.5 copper cables per second. So we also know from our starter base, we kind of know what the ratio is. We need 3 assemblers making copper cables to feed 2 assemblers making green circuits. So I initially did have a plan to set this up in a certain way, and it's going to be kind of a little bit different than what you might expect, maybe. So we are going to have something come in here, and that is going to be copper. How do I want to set this up? Copper plates. Sorry, not copper plates. Copper cables, and we need 6. And then we need... I always forget to put the ghost down. My cat is begging for scratches. Probably can't hear her anyways. So this is what the normal system would look like. And I tend to prefer to do things a little bit different. So one of the problems that we're going to have in this situation, specifically with this build, and probably with future builds as well, is green circuits absolutely suck a ton of iron plates and copper plates off your belts. So we actually need a lot to come in. So we're going to need 4 lanes, 2 of iron and 2 of copper coming in to feed this monstrosity. Most of the copper will be consumed during this, and just a little over a full belt of iron plates will be consumed through this. And then we are also going to have an outfeed belt, and because of the amount of green circuits we are going to be creating with this build, it's just over a full belt. Definitely not 2 worth, but we're going to have... basically, we're going to have 2 coming out. So the way that we're going to set this up is we are going to move this a little bit closer. So I'm going to Control X and shift this over by 1. I should not have gotten rid of that. Okay, that's still going to line up. Yep. Okay, so now we need to get copper plates in here. So both of these lanes, let me get a... let me go to Factoriopedia, Alt-click, and get a constant combinator. I don't know how did I not have one of these on my bars already? And we're just going to indicate what we have coming in. So we have iron plates coming in here and here, and we have copper plates coming in here and here. We don't need to worry about what's coming out because that's should be kind of obvious. And this was probably too close for now. Okay. So the idea is that once we have something come in, we're gonna split it off, similar to like what we would do with the bus, because these materials that we have coming in are effectively going to be a little mini bus. So we're gonna have this branching off here, and this will be our copper cables. Sorry, copper plates going into copper cables. Copper cables will then go into the iron, or to the green circuits, and then we will need some iron plates to come in here as well. So before we even get to... Okay, I'm not going to worry about setting stuff up from the bus. And I do need to make a quick run back to the starter base, because I know we're going to need some more inserters. So might as well have everything that we need right from the start, right? At the end of this video, hopefully I can keep this relatively short. Hopefully at the end of this video, I will have enough time. I am going to go through and take out some of the biters. I'm just going to speed through that. Definitely going to need more of these. I'll just speed through... let's get rid of some of this iron ore. Yeah, I'll speed through that. You can watch it if you want. If not, you can, skip the next video. That's fine. I would suggest maybe watching the first one, because I imagine it's going to be interesting. I'm probably going to lose some gun turrets, and one of the biggest downsides of losing gun turrets like that is if you have ammo in one of the gun turrets and you lose one, that ammo's gone. So, yeah, rip. All right, back to the green circuits. This should be good enough. I have plenty of medium electric power poles, enough. Oh, almost hit a rock. Enough. Whatchamacallit? Enough inserters, enough assemblers. All right. Oh no, not the car. Problem solved. All right. Where was I? Okay, so when we have materials coming up here, we're gonna need to get iron in here as well. One of the things that I generally like to do is I like to butt these kind of close together because I like to take full advantage of the red underground belts, which will span a whole section like this. I knew this would be too close. We need to bring this back one. And I need to ghost this stuff in. I am so bad about nope, not cut, copy. Not ghosting these in. Okay, so why am I doing this? The reason why is because we are going to bring in some, let me just move these away for now. We're gonna bring in some iron plates, and we are gonna branch. You're gonna branch those in here, and then have splitters like this that will then allow us to take off the iron plates into the green circuits. And then the red will just full length go over. This will be split off of the iron plates, and then we are going to copy this and hit V to vertically rotate, and we're going to match it up with the center line that's going to be our like little export. So now we have a line here, and we just need to do the same thing there, which is why these are at max length. You could, like, if you had to do this with yellow belts, for starters, you would not split these. These would go back to being a space of 1 in between, and your belts would, it would be really difficult, but your belts would run across the middle and then jump over your inserters and have your splitter come off right here and then continue on down the line so that they could pull from an inserter here and an inserter here. I prefer to play with the red belts, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so moving right along. So both lanes of copper will continue through, and they will split here. And that is generally what our build will look like. For the inserters, we know that this can just give this one to copper cables here can give all of its copper cables to this green circuit, and same with this one. It can give all of its to this green circuit. That needs to be one in there, and then this one will split between the two of them. So this is what the inserters will look like. And then for the copper cables, we're going to set this so it would be natural to set them up like this. We are not going to do this because it just works out better split with the power poles. So our power pole will be able, not that one. Our power pole will be able to cover these in a way that kind of just lines up across. For the most part, anyways, you'll see. And then same here, we're going to have these in a weird spot as well. These are going to be closer to the splitters because it will line up better with the power poles. Autosave got me. All right, so we're going to copy this again. Let's do the power poles first, actually. So I like to try to start here. So our this is kind of our starting point for power poles. And then these can just drop below, and then it's kind of unfortunate. I guess technically we could do something like this. You know what? Why not? Oh, that's why not. We're not going to hit the You know what? I'll just do it here. Hold on. It is going to be slightly off. So this one is placed here so that it can cover this one. This one doesn't need one because it will be captured by this one here. And yep, you know what? Why not? We're here to have fun, right? Make new builds. That is not how that's going to look. Something like that. All right, let's copy this, and we are going to V to vertically flip and line everything up. And there you go. That is basically, let me double check. That is, everybody has coverage. Everybody has power coverage. It looks like it. Yeah. So that is what our build is going to look like. Now, our goal is to try to consume as much of at least a full belt, or in this case, we're aiming for the copper, at least 2 full belts if possible. So these consume 1.5 copper per second, and 2 belts is 60. So 60 divided by 1.5 is 40. We would need 40 assemblers. Hold on. Yes, because my old build, I would do like 21 per side, which was 42. So we're gonna be kind of close to 40, not quite there. So this is 12. We're gonna copy all of this. And the best part about this is because of how some of this lines up, we can actually reuse the belts from the other side. So we can just paste it down like this. We don't have to give these copper cable machines their own belt, because this will be a full belt of copper plates and they can freely take from that. I suppose I could have just copied all of this. Let me see if I can get some of this to line up as well. Let me just remove these and copy. Sure. And we will connect the dots after. So this will come down, and this needs to also feed into here. I think maybe what we'll do is we can also priority output these to the left to make room for the incoming material, because this, everything coming off this belt will just force itself onto this first one if there's room. So if there's not room, we need to do what we can to try to help it get that space. It's probably not that big of a deal, because I think the amount that we're going to be pulling out of here is something like this right here will create 36 per second, which is just 6 more than 2 belts worth. So, and I also just realized that that's not going to work with this. Hold on. Do I need to move all these back one more? I think I do. But that's as simple as cut, start down here. Cut everything here and move it back by 1. Didn't I move it up by 1? Okay, that's better. So what would have happened is this would have tried to... I actually don't know if this would have tried to put anything on this or not, but you know what? We're going to avoid that situation either way. So this can come down. We need an output on here. Priority left. And I'm not too worried about the tail ends. Like when we get through the bus, you will see that I will have that ghost. That you will see that I will have situations like that too. You can always go through and cut off the tails, because what will end up happening is, like, let's say that this was consuming everything. Eventually some of this would trickle over, so these would just have stuff sitting on them. So you could just like remove these. You could also not use like multiple splitters. Let's just pretend like we're not going to update this there. So it would be more like this. Okay, so now I think I'm happy with this. Let me make sure that everything is actually connected. And it looks like it. We would also need, so none of these power poles actually touch any of these big electric power poles. So we would need, let's just do it here. We would need a connection to kind of just put it all together. So that is our build. And I don't know if you remember, I think I said it in the last video. We are leaving that one as a ghost. In the last guide that I made, we filled it out, but we are not going to be filling it out this time. We are going to be filling out one, and the one that we are going to be filling out is the one next door. So we're going to copy, and this is the beauty of having a section that like kind of has city blocks, is we can just kind of copy all of the city block and just make sure that it lines up, and there we go. So now we're just going to stamp all of this in. And that will be it for the episode. Yeah, I might as well just go ahead and put all of the splitters in. Why not? Got it in my hand. Might as well, right? I would say that the biggest negative in this is it does use quite a few more belts and quite a few more splitters. But you know what? That's fine. Like I said, we're here to have fun. We're here to play around with different builds, right? And it's not that big of a deal, because once we get to Fulgora, a lot of this won't matter. We will end up rebuilding some of this, or maybe not. Maybe we will do things on different planets rather than have it here on Novice. Anyways, you always need stuff like this. So anyways, let's talk about how we're gonna get this off and what the rule of thumb is that I was talking about earlier. So this is gears. Let's just make sure that this goes down so we can scooch it out of the way. Actually, I'll just stop it there. So when we're setting up multiple belts, it's different if you have like one belt coming off. We'll count this as one belt. But usually whenever I branch off of the bus, I will have one branch coming off the top line and priority filter all of these. So this branch comes off, and then all the other ones branch off towards the front and priority filter out. This is a little bit of an exception. I'm considering this one because we are actually just disregarding a whole belt. So it's basically like we're just losing a belt. But every time you remove a belt from the line, so for instance right here, you need to have, for every one belt that you have come off, you need to have a set of these splitters with the priority filter. Let me show you what I mean by that. So actually this is where we're gonna do something interesting. And it doesn't even have to be here. Like let's just pretend that we're not gonna do it here. So we're gonna set this up in a way that this belt here can split off and continue on. So this one is gonna go out by one before it turns in. We'll just top that for now. And then, sorry, this needed to go one forward, and then this one can then go here. Now we have 2 belts coming off. They still need a priority filter on the left. Now this belt can come through and get split and go there. Priority is going into here. But if it's not fully going through, if the whole belt isn't being consumed, then the rest of it will go underground and continue forward. Same with this. Once it gets to here, this will send it. Okay, so this line will be forced into here, and if it is not, then it will continue on. And then for every belt that we have after, we need to set up this. If I had put, say, if I had centralized this and had, say, a copper coming in this side, an iron coming in this side, and a copper coming in this side, and an iron coming in this side, and had the green circuits coming out the middle, this is the same amount of splitters that I would have used, and we still need to do that. So the reason why we need to do that is, had we not done this, we would have a situation where this belt would continue on full, and this belt here would continue on empty, which means that would kind of mess us up for the next couple of builds. So this is kind of necessary. All right, so now we just need to get copper in here. And copper is basically going to do the same thing. So instead of having it set up here, we're going to step this one back so that, so that it can go into here. And then the next one will come into here. This belt can continue on there, and there you go. Let's get these hooked up and then finish building out the green circuits, and then we are good to go. We could have doubled up on these. Actually, I can probably just remove those. They will, yep, they will still connect in the middle. Same thing here. I'm just going to remove that one, leave those. How long will it be before I stamp one of these down in the wrong position? Okay, me standing on top of it doesn't count. Why I do the belt so early. It always messes you up, especially when you're like trying to run through like this. And make sure you're using that pipette tool, hitting Q like that. That is a game changer. The more you play and the more you start to do stuff like that, the more it's like, oh, you basically learn to almost only do that, and having stuff on your bars just doesn't even really matter. What else? Underground's there. Did I get the other? Those undergrounds are good. Need these here. All right, so now it's just belts and inserters. And I'm not going to priority the belts here. Like, they will just kind of naturally even themselves out. You can if you want. It's honestly not that big of a deal. Once we turn this thing on, and like, you'll see, everything will just work itself out. Right, so finish off the belts. And since we're here, might as well just go ahead and start filling these out. I don't know off the top of my head when we're going to end up coming back to fill out the other green circuit. It'll probably, if I had to guess off the top of my head, it'll probably be sometime before we get to red circuits. Hopefully I grabbed enough inserters. I think I needed like 150. I also don't know why we're blinking for no power. Did we not? We did not set up the big power pole here. Or there for that matter. There we go. Now we're cooking. Just need the last of the inserters and the last of the belts. Nope. Nope. No, 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 no. FF. That's funny. Who did this? Somebody must have run into this with a car. Some people. And then as you can see, like this is obviously just here. If we ended up having more, it is yet to be determined whether or not we will. Okay, so now we have green circuits. So our green circuits are going to come down. Let's just Alt-D and get rid of some of this. So our green circuits will come down here. Let's just underground this all the way, or most of the way. And we obviously need to underground here. And we finished concrete. So the farthest belt on the right is the one that's going to come through first. This is why we're setting this build up and not this one, because once these come through, they will occupy the 2 lanes here in the middle. And this one will occupy that lane. Oh, we missed one. And that is our green circuit build. Get all that lovely green. Okay, everything is hooked up right. Awesome. So let's just extend some of these past. Make sure our bus is hooked up correctly. And then we need to jump the gears and bring those down as well. Okay, so that is going to be it for this episode. In the next episode, we are we're going to be doing a lot of things in the next couple of episodes. So next episode we are starting the bus. We are starting the new, sorry, not the bus, the shopping mall. So we are going to start doing the new shopping mall, and that is largely going to occupy this section here. Basically these 3 city blocks. I have only built this thing once in concept. It works. I hooked it all up. I made sure to check and see that everything was working, that things were going to be, you know, proper and everything that we needed. Ooh, look at all those miners. Empty miners. I would say the biggest downside is that I actually, whenever I set it up and pieced it all together, I'm so used to creating the shopping mall on the bottom side of the bus. It's going to be very awkward for me setting it up here. But you know what? We will get through it. I'm going to jump into my blueprint save and take a screenshot. And you know what? We're going to get through it. gonna be great. It's a very compact build. Anyways, that is it for me. I will see you in the next episode. And if you want to watch me kill some biters, I'm gonna spend. It'll probably be 5 minutes for you, probably 15 to 20 for me. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.